Question B. How was Dorcas rewarded for her goodness and kindness? A woman named Dorcas, or Tabitha, lived in Joppa, an ancient seaport northwest of Jerusalem. Since the Bible mentions no husband, she was likely unmarried at the time. Dorcas abounded in good deeds and gifts of mercy. Acts 9:36-42. She evidently made many garments for needy widows and others, and this greatly endeared her to them. So when she suddenly fell ill and died, the whole congregation sent for Peter to implore him to resurrect their dear sister. As news of her resurrection spread throughout Joppa, many became believers. Through her extraordinary kindness, Dorcas herself may have had a share in helping some of them. Paragraph 14. Question. What moves single Christians to draw closer to Jehovah? Like Anna and Dorcas, many in congregations today find themselves single later in life. Some may not have found a suitable marriage mate. Others are divorced or widowed. Having no marriage mate to confide in, single Christians often learn to lean more heavily on Jehovah. Sylvia, a single sister who has served at Bethel for more than 38 years, sees this as a blessing. Sometimes I get tired of being the strong one, she admits. I wonder, who will encourage me? But then she adds, trusting that Jehovah knows what I need better than I do helps me to draw closer to Him. And the encouragement always comes, sometimes from completely unexpected sources. Whenever we draw closer to Jehovah, He always responds in a most tender and reassuring way. Paragraph 15. Question. How may unmarried Christians widen out in their love? Singleness affords a special opportunity to widen out in love. 2 Corinthians 6:11-13 reads, Our mouth has been opened to you, Corinthians. Our heart has widened out. You are not cramped for room within us, but you are cramped for room in your own tender affections. So as a recompense in return, I speak as to children, you too widen out. Jolene, a single sister who has spent the past 34 years in full-time service, says, I've tried to work hard at building warm relationships, not just with people my own age, but with all types of people. Singleness is a real opportunity to give to Jehovah, your family, and your brothers and sisters, as well as to your neighbors. The older I get, the happier I feel about my single state. The elderly, the infirm, single parents, youths, and others in the congregation certainly appreciate the unselfish support that single ones offer to them. Indeed, whenever we show love to others, we feel better about ourselves. Can you too widen out in your love for others? Single for life. Paragraph 16. Question A. Why did Jesus stay single for life? Question B. How did Paul make wise use of his single state? Jesus did not marry. He had to prepare for and carry out his assigned ministry. He traveled extensively, worked from early in the morning until late at night, and eventually laid down his life in sacrifice. Singleness was an advantage in his case. The Apostle Paul traveled thousands of miles and faced great hardships in the ministry. Although he may have been married earlier, Paul chose to stay single after he was commissioned as an apostle. For the sake of the ministry, both Jesus and Paul encouraged others to imitate their example where possible. Yet, neither of them set celibacy as a requirement for ministers. Paragraph 17. Question. How have some today followed in the footsteps of Jesus and Paul, and why can we be sure that Jehovah appreciates those who make such sacrifices? Today, some have likewise made the conscious choice to remain single so that they can better pursue their ministry. Harold, mentioned earlier, has enjoyed over 56 years in Bethel service. By the time I completed 10 years at Bethel, he says, I had observed many married couples leaving Bethel because of sickness or the need to care for an aging parent. My parents were both deceased. But I loved Bethel so much that I did not want to put that privilege in jeopardy by getting married. Similarly, years ago, a longtime pioneer named Margaret observed, "There have been opportunities for marriage in my life, but I just never got around to it. Instead, I was able to use the extra freedom and mobility that singleness affords to keep busy in the ministry, and this has brought me great happiness." Surely, Jehovah will never forget any who make such unselfish sacrifices for true worship. Isaiah 56:4-5 read, "For this is what Jehovah has said to the eunuchs that keep my Sabbaths and that have chosen what I have delighted in, and that are laying hold of my covenant. I will even give to them in my house and within my walls a monument and a name, something better than sons and daughters. A name to time indefinite I shall give them, one that will not be cut off." Make the most of your circumstances. Paragraph 18. Question. How can others encourage and support single Christians? All unmarried Christians who are doing their best to serve Jehovah deserve our genuine commendation and encouragement. We love them for who they are and for the significant contribution they make to the congregation. They will never have to feel lonely if we truly become their spiritual brothers and sisters and mothers and children. Mark 10:28-30 reads, "Peter started to say to him, 'Look, we left all things and have been following you.' Jesus said, 'Truly I say to you, men, no one has left house or brothers or sisters or mother or father or children or fields for my sake and for the sake of the good news, who will not get 100-fold now in this period of time, houses and brothers and sisters and mothers and children and fields with persecutions, and in the coming system of things, everlasting life." Paragraph 19. Question. What can you do to make the most of your singleness? Whether you are single by choice or simply because of circumstances, may these scriptural and modern examples assure you that you can lead a happy and productive life. Some gifts are eagerly anticipated, while others are completely unexpected. Some are immediately appreciated, while others are valued only over time. Much, then, depends on our attitude. What can you do to make the most of your singleness? Draw closer to Jehovah, have plenty to do in God's service, and widen out in your love for others. Like marriage, singleness can be rewarding when we view it from God's perspective and make wise use of this gift. After listening to this article, do you recall? In what ways can singleness be a gift? How can singleness be a blessing in youth? What opportunities do single Christians have to draw closer to Jehovah and widen out in love? End of article.